As long as he's a priest, protector, and a provider. But the question is, Christian ladies, is that enough to please you? Welcome to another episode of Chelsea's Live Line. I'm so excited to see y'all in the chat. Shout out to Aunt Tracy for being here, Berean Babes, and Auntie Carolyn for being here as well. I appreciate y'all. And as you come in, please feel free to hit that like button if you're liking the content that I am producing over here. Again, happy Black History Month. We are in the month already, February 8th. Shout out to LeBron James for making history last night as the all-time scorer for the NBA, as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was previously the all-time scorer, but now it's LeBron James. So they're passing over that torch, especially during Black History Month. That's something to celebrate, especially for us NBA fans, okay? Nonetheless, I want to give a shout out to Spiritual Word for this shirt I have on, which says, "Saint, don't try me. Thou shalt not throw shade if thou cannot throw hands." Do not throw shade to folks if you ain't got those hands to protect yourself with them words, because talk is real cheap, okay? So don't try me. Saying don't try me. Don't do it. Okay? Anyway, let's get into today's episode. I called it, pretty much before I was calling it Women with Standards Win, but I retitled it to say, I have high standards, and this is why I do, and I think that all women should have them. Because I put a poll out there for the audience asking the question of, do women have high standards? And I've been seeing a mix, right? I see no, I think it's yes 50% and no 50% based off of what I see here. If I could see this full poll would be great, but at the moment I don't. So therefore I think it is, oh no. I see today's women, I see yes, 25%. 25% of y'all say today's women have standards. Okay. And then I see, let's see here, 50% with no, so that leaves 25% with maybe so. Okay, I think that's the breakdown we're going with. And as you come in, please hit that, do that poll. And then Jermaine talking about Chelsea never gonna miss giving LeBron James props. That's facts right there. And shout out to you, Jermaine. Shout out to that Christian Fam channel. Make sure y'all go subscribe to them if you haven't already. Let's get into the episode. I'm gonna get started first with the word of the day, which is coming from Romans 12, 1 through 2. Saying the following: "Therefore, I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will." Amen. Romans 12, 1 through 2. Let's get into it. Literally, there are 5 things that I say, 5 standards that women should have. And I'm going to get into those today. Shout out to Red Edge for being here. I appreciate you so much. Let's get into these standards. The reason I created this episode, for one, is February is the love month, right? We have Valentine's Day for those who celebrate it on the 14th. It's also Black Love Day, which is on February 13th. So there's all these holidays surrounding love in the month of February. And while we may be led by lust, sometimes we need to focus that if we take the lust away, take that filter off, we be able to see a lot of what people are saying, which is a bunch of fluff. Especially ladies, like we get so mesmerized because we see a guy who's fine that we don't pay attention to the finer details. What is he saying? Who is he really behind the appearance? What is his character like? But we don't care about that because we look at the outer appearance and we judge them by that. But that should not be the first thing we judge them by. However, most of us do it. And that's why I want to tell you about some standards we should have, because based off of the poll, it seems like we agree that most women don't have standards. That's the truth, especially modern women. Seriously, just imagine this. Men are cheating, right? Men cheat, women cheat. But we say, okay, men are cheating. But men wouldn't have nothing to cheat with if the women were not out here being scandalous and cheating with them. You get me? It takes two. So we cannot be just quick to blame men for cheating, but there are women that they're cheating with most of the time. So if women had standards, if women kept their legs closed, if women knew that they control the wombs, WCW, then there would be no need for us to blame men for cheating because they cheating with a woman, obviously. So that's what I'm saying. Women have to have standards, and then we don't want to be objectified with our bodies because of what we wear, but we have to realize that we're wearing it for a reason. To entice who? Because we know what our bodies look like. We see them every day. Therefore, we cannot blame this man for looking at us and objectifying us because we're doing it before they get the chance to do it. That's what it is. That's what the world is. And we can't blame everybody. We have to reflect and actually take some accountability. And shout out to Proverbs 17:11 for being here. God bless you as well, brother. Thank you. And shout out to Theo for being in the chat. What up, Doe? 313 represent all day. Yes, and shout out to Sharon for being here. I appreciate you as well. Thank you so much. And shout out to Successful Melanated Dusty. I'm just doing my rounds of shout outs, y'all. Thank y'all for being here. Make sure I hit that like button. And yeah, Berean Babes is in the house. So y'all salute. And then, Gracious Greatness, last but not least. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Let's get into this episode, which is about women with standards. I think if we get the standards back, we would have success in our relationships. And we would want marriage because that would be the standard we set. And we wouldn't allow a man to have access to our bodies without having marriage. But women don't want to do that. I'm going to get into the first standard that women should have. There's 5 of them tonight. The first one is faith. Look at a man's faith. Right, you will know a man's faith by his fruits. Is he actually following the word? Because in the book of James, it talks about not only should you be a hearer of the word, you should be a doer of the word. Do you see the fruits in his life? How is he treating other people other than you? How is he treating the people who he can't benefit from? That's how you can test a man. Is he respectful to the waitresses, to the waiters, to the homeless people in the street? Seriously, that's what you have to pay attention to, his fruits, because you can recite the Bible all day, but if you're not living by it, then that's just being a hypocrite. That's what the book of James talks about. And most of us women say we want a God-fearing man, but do we know what that entails? Do we know what we should look for? I've met some God-fearing men who are married, for example, the men who are on my panel from Boys to Men's panel, Jermaine, Dre, the list goes on, right? Lou. Who else was on my panel? Rob. So there's other guys that I met, and the guys that are in the chat right now who are God-fearing men, but us women, sometimes we don't know what that is until we see it. We can read and say we want our Boaz. We want our Boaz, but most of y'all are sitting on yo. And if you just sitting in your room on yo, then that's the reason why you ain't getting your Boaz. You're not getting him because you got to go out there. Proverbs 18:22 says, he who finds a wife, he's not going to find you in your living room. He's not going to find you in your living room. He's not going to find you in your dining room, in your kitchen, in your bedroom. He's not going to find you there. Therefore, you have to be found. The only way to be found is to get out and go see what's out there. At least show yourself, right? Not like a marketing campaign. You don't have to be available to any and everybody. Put some respect on yourself because as we know, Rolls-Royce, they don't do commercials for a reason. That luxury life. You want to set standards for yourself. You don't want to be just out there available, putting yourself on every single dating app that there is because you're selling yourself thin. Literally. This is legal slavery. It's virtual panhandling when you go on every social media site. You're going on Facebook dating. Tinder. You know Tinder are for hookups. Keep it real. So how do you expect to find a God-fearing man on some of these apps? Even on the Christian Mingle app. Everybody on there ain't no Christian. Just be realistic and be discerning and realize that, as we know, us women, we think we can go to church and find a God-fearing man. No, some of these men, let me tell you about the category of men, because I talked about this with Joseph Bahoda the other day, where we're talking about the church, the pimping preachers, the prosperity gospel, and we're talking about feminism. And one thing I mentioned is that, okay, let's say 70% of people in church are women. That leaves you with 30% of men left. And let me break those 30% down. For one, 30% of those men can include gay men in the church, because there are gay men in the church. Yes, ladies, they are. And there are. You see the choir directors. Secondly, you have married men. I know you're not going to be lusting after them. They got a ring on their finger. They came with their wife. So that's out of the category. So it limits our pool even more. And then lastly, you got men that are coming there not to P-R-A-Y for you. They're coming to P-R-E-Y on you. Every man that's in the church isn't coming for the same reason. They can be coming to recruit, and they see your vulnerability as a way to say, hey, I see old girl, she come to church every week. She'd be a good one for me to ruin her life. Right? I can ruin her life real quick because she's vulnerable. She's showing her vulnerabilities to me. Therefore, be careful when you talk about God-fearing man, because just because he has a Bible on him, just because he's reciting verses and he goes to church does not make him God-fearing. It's when he's put to that test. Look at Job, the book of Job, and that'll tell you about a God-fearing man. That'll show you a God-fearing man. We don't know it. Therefore, you got to see it. And you got to have some men in your life who are God-fearing to show you and who can help you vet, because we come into this stuff so blind and we think we can vet them all by ourselves. No, men know more than we do when it comes to men. But I'm just letting you know, as a woman, what standards you should have for your life. Be quick. Don't be quick to my God-fearing man. And let me show you, on Kendra G's show, there was a woman that came on saying that she was looking for a God-fearing man, but it doesn't look like she's a God-fearing woman when she goes against the standards that she has set and that God has set for her. So let's take a look at this clip together real quick.
Man, you looking for, honey?
I know they're gonna laugh, but definitely God-fearing. Like, he has to be a Christian, because I want to be equally yoked and financially stable, and that kind of takes care of everything. Basically, those two things.
What does God-fearing mean to you?
So, a person that believes in Jesus Christ, a person believes in God and the Bible and follows that.
Are you not having sex until you get married?
So, about that, it's amazing to just say no, but then everybody's just like, no. So, I don't know. I'm gonna say no, definitely, but I mean, who cares? If they run away, that's on them. But I know there's like,
You're gonna say no, definitely to you will have sex before marriage, or you're not gonna have sex until marriage?
No, I would not. No.
So you're a virgin?
No, I've been married before.
Oh, okay. When did you get first?
Yeah, I was, let's see, 2014.
Okay, why did y'all get divorced?
We were very young, and he just wasn't ready to be what he needed to be. So I went my separate way.
So this is invasive, and you don't have to answer this, but have you had sex since your ex-husband?
I have before.
Okay. So are you on a celibacy journey right now, or you're not?
Yeah, so that was technically, I know it's invasive, but I just want to be transparent here. That was just one other person, and that was like 8 years later. So I went on the celibacy journey, and then I'm still on it now. So, yeah.
Okay.
So about that, like Proverbs 17:11 said. So about that, yeah, it all depends, right? You're not on a solid foundation. You're not on a solid foundation. And one thing that Gracious Greatness said, Kendra G, you should be edifying the sister and following righteousness as the word says, right? But Kendra G, she ain't no real Christian though. She not a real Christian at all. Especially when you see a type of people that come on her show and what she allows and celebrates. It's not a Christian show, but I see so many Christians coming on there saying that they're looking for a God-fearing man or a God-fearing woman. But as soon as we ask you about the biblical principles, what? Solid foundation. Stick to the word. The word is the truth. If you have to manipulate the word, literally we're grocery shopping for the word that we think best applies to us. Oh, I'm going to follow the part that says this, but I'm not going to follow the part that says that because I'm not ready for all that yet. Like cherry picking Christians. That's what you can call some of us when we are not doers of the word like we need to. Yeah, so she's on a celibacy journey. Exactly. Jermaine said, when people of the world can pick your faith apart, you have issues and need much study and prayer. Exactly. And too much emphasis on sex is happening right now. Not enough questions about character, morals, integrity, prayer, faith, etc. That's a good point, Gracious Greatness. Thank you. And yeah, they do look alike. I did see that as well. I'm reading some of these comments. Yeah, exactly, Sharon. When I was talking about the types of men that are in the church, that 30%, that small number, they either keep it on the down low. That's what they doing. That's one. Or they are married or they praying on you. One of the three. Exactly. Picking bozos over Boaz. They picking the cousins. I wish I had this clip where they picking the cousins of Boaz. Yeah, sad. A lot of our women have that same look. See, that's the thing too. That's the thing. Ooh-wee. And shout out to Bronzeberg. Appreciate you for being here. I appreciate you. All right. Let's get into it. So again, faith. We want a God-fearing man, but we don't know what God-fearing is if we see it. And it's not enough to just have a God-fearing man. It's not enough. That's the first thing. But then also there are men who say they want a God-fearing woman until it's time to discuss sex. Let's listen to this clip.
What kind of woman are you looking for?
I'm a Christian, so I will definitely love a woman who is a Christian. I also look forward to someone who understands and respects the value of religion. And I understand everybody comes from different backgrounds, but please save me. I'm not used to going to church, and I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. I'm just more concerned of someone who will respect the value of Christianity.
Okay, so if you met a woman that said she didn't want to have sex until she got married, you'll be fine with that?
If she don't want to have sex until what?
Until she got married. That's a Christian belief.
Yeah, it is a Christian belief. It is a Christian belief. You know, it's look how she's going away. I'll leave that up to she and I to discuss it personally.
You ain't going for that. That's just, you ain't going for it.
Yeah, exactly. Y'all be pausing. Come on now. Press the play button and let us know how you really feel. Exactly. Shout out to Coach Harry for being here. Shout out to Christina for being here as well. And they're just throwing that Christian title away. The only thing Christian about you may be your name. That's it. Like literally, your name might be Christian. That's it, because you're not representing Christian values, and we don't want to be associated with that. No. And then Kendra, yeah, she's a part of that new age. Kendra don't know what she want to do. She's in it for the fame and only for the fame. She don't care who comes on the show. It's been a mess. You have all different type of transformers and all different type of folks on her show. That's why I don't be watching the stuff like that. I pick out what I need to pick out to display to y'all, to show y'all what time it is when people claim that they're Christians, and let y'all see for yourselves. Please deliver us, or deliver that lady from deception. Open her eyes. Yeah, she needs to open her eyes. I agree. I don't know what's going on. That's the first thing you need to look for, women. Look at the faith, because you hear a man like this that says, like, when we get involved with a man sexually, ladies, especially when you're supposed to be a Christian and supposed to be a Christian man, you get involved with this man sexually, and then you go down a slippery slope from that point on. The reason for it is because you are distracted. You are creating ties, soul ties with this man now. Now you can't even focus. So when he mistreats you, you don't even pay attention to it because you're so hypnotized. I'm going to say the clean version. I hypnotized. Really something else ties. But that's what I'm saying. When you involve sex into the equation, you don't know what you're saying. You don't know what he's saying. You let him do whatever he wants because he's feeding you, right? And then after that, you just keep repeating the cycle until he may break it off with you. It may take him breaking it off with you for you to realize your worth. That's what it is. It's so sad. But I just tell you, just stay away from these folks that talk about they Christian, but they want to have sex with you. That's how you know that's the God's way of telling you don't need to be bothered with that. Early on, don't get involved with that and then regret it later. Have self-control. Have discipline. Yes. And shout out to Smart Christians channel for being here. I appreciate you. All right. As well as Lawrence. Thank you. So I subscribed, but still had to fight with YouTube to get here. We don't want that. We do not want that. But yes, let's continue this conversation as I get into the second standard that women should have, Christian women should have, when it comes to dating men out here. Family. Look at their family. We're going to get into this one really good because most people think that they just marry one person, but you're marrying into the family. So depending on that family's mental history on his mother's side and his father's side, that plays a role. All that DNA is going to get intertwined together. And you're going to see what time it is. Pay attention, before I get into the mental history and whatnot, pay attention to how a man treats his mother. And men, let me know in the comments if y'all agree with this or not. But pay attention to how a man treats his mother, because sometimes it seems like a direct projection of how he's going to treat you. I've had relationships with men who did not respect their mother, who did not buy gifts for their mother on holidays, did not show love to her, saw her more as baggage than anything else. And it showed because they were easily able to try to disrespect me because obviously they did not respect their mother, the woman who birthed them. I think it's a direct reflection. Therefore, pay attention to that dynamic when how a man treats his mother, but at the same time, pay attention to the mama's boys. Because I don't need no man who is always going over to his mama's house to cook every weekend. There's a distinction between a man who loves his mother and a mama's boy. And I'm going to read these comments. Pay attention to how their mother treats that man. It's not a one-way street. Okay. Proverbs 17:11 said facts. Coach Harry said, every woman I've dated that had family conflict has some of the worst attitudes and trust issues. Yeah, the Red Edge said, woo, that family dynamic is something serious because you're marrying into that family. It's not just that person. That person is literally a reflection of that family. And you really get the chance to pay a closer attention to the family because you're not involved with the family like you are with this man. Okay, if the mother's side is cuckoo and the father's side is cuckoo, then he's a part of that and he cuckoo as well. But he just may be hiding it because you're dating the representative at that moment. Yeah. Just saying. You're dating the representative. That's the first thing. So pay attention to that family dynamic and make sure he's not a mama's boy. Because sometimes us women, sometimes we should desire a man from a two-parent household. It's not always going to be the case, but we need to see a healthy two-parent household. And we need to see that a man is coming from a healthy two-parent household. In my opinion, I think it's important for a man to see what marriage looks like so he'll know how to properly lead you if he sees that. But being raised by a single mother, sometimes he could have a dynamic where his mother was so strong, so he's also expecting a strong woman to lead him, which is obviously out of order, which will not lead to a successful marriage. Yes, the mama's boy is very problematic. Yes, it is. Ooh, let's try to stay away from that when I see it. Run when you see it. Next thing to pay attention to is the mental history. Let's say that on a certain side of your potential significant other's family, they have mental problems. They could have bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, anything like that. Maybe they were addicted to some type of drug at some point in time and is running through generation to generation. If that's the case, if you have children with this person, what could happen, right? It's not every single case, but I'm just saying be careful of families that have mental histories. They have had addictions that could pass through, and that's a problem there. Pay attention to those addictions. Also, a health history. Look at the health history. Do they all have diabetes or cancer runs through their family? What runs in the family? Pay attention to that. I'm telling you, because you don't want your child, for example, let's say that your significant other has, let's see, what is it called? Sickle cell anemia, right? Sickle cell. That could be passed down to your children. That's something to pay attention to. Also, see how he treats his children. Let's say that you're coming into a situation where this man has children already. How does he treat his children? Is it with respect? Is he putting his children on a pedestal? Because remember, there's an order when you get married. Husband, wife, children. And if he's coming in with children already, see as a wife where you're going to be placed. Are you going to be right under him or under the children? Because he already has built a relationship with the children and you're just coming in doing the wife duties and motherly duties, but you're not being recognized for it because he's putting his children first. That's sometimes what can be the case. Even with men dating women with kids, the women want to put the kids first and then the husband comes down further in the line, if possible, if at all. And shout out to Marquette for being here as well. I appreciate you. Blessings to you as well. Yes, yes. Jermaine said, I think the people that said yes on the poll voted based on what they want to see or what should be. Because I agree. I think that today's women, for the most part, do not have standards. When I say today's women, I'm saying like women that are 20 to 38. 20 to 38. That's what I'll say. Between that range. The modern women of today. I'm telling you, it's a mess, to say the least. And shout out to King J. Sean for being here. I appreciate you. Yes. Make it make sense. They are a mess. I think that's like we're projecting and saying that, okay, we wish that they had standards, but in reality, most of them do not. And it's polling. Keep voting. Keep voting. Next thing is pay attention to how he treats his nieces and his nephews if he doesn't have any children. But what about godchildren? How does he treat them? Because especially if you want to have children with this person, you got to know how they treat somebody else's child or their own children. Do y'all have the same parenting styles? Do you believe in timeouts or whoopings? Which one? And that's another thing. If a child or a man is raised up and he's been physically abused, mentally abused, that's going to be a scary dynamic, especially if he has not seeked out therapy for that. That's going to be something that could be like he can start being abusive to you or your children. You have to be careful of those situations. Coach Harry said, I voted yes. I think women have standards. They're just not realistic or helpful to their love lives. Interesting. He said 20 to 55. Dang. Okay. Most of them, yeah, do not. I agree. Also, pay attention to the mouthy family members. You're getting married to him and he has a mother that's always in his business. She ain't going nowhere. Even though they say you're supposed to leave and cleave, she ain't going nowhere. That's basically a threesome because she ain't going nowhere. Pay attention to the mother, the father. What role does the father play in the life? What about his sisters, his brothers, if he has any? Because who wants a mouthy sister-in-law that's always talking about, my brother, taking up for their brother, taking up for their son. Like the son can't do nothing wrong. Like her brother can't do nothing wrong. You don't want to be like that. You don't want to deal with that, especially when there's conflict. And then let's say he goes and reports it to his family, and now they on his side, and they ain't got nothing to say to you. No. You don't want a mother who's always taking up for her son. That's a catastrophe waiting to happen. Next, when it comes to the family dynamic, is that what if you have blended families, baby mamas, ex-wives? I've dealt with the baby mama stuff. I myself, for the most part, I'll say with a strong no, I'm not dealing with that because it's an attachment that's there. It's an attachment. Shout out to the women who've been able to adapt to that, because it's one thing to be able to deal with the children. That should be no problem. I had no problem with that aspect. But when it came to the baby mother and disrespecting and the lack of boundaries that were set, it was a setup. It was a setup. And when I get disrespected, it's a wrap. Like, literally, you see the shirt. I talked about it before. Thou shalt not throw shade if thou cannot throw hands. It's as simple as that. Do not throw shade if you can't throw hands. And that's why I don't want to be bothered with the baby mama stuff. I am too professional to be dealing with that. No, I never deal with that. But if you do, pay attention to how the baby mother respects you, how the baby mother respects your potential significant other. Because they are not going away. They're going to be with you. They're going to be like, y'all going to be a blended family forever, even after the age of 18, even after the child reaches that age. That's just how it is. And I know that most people say they want to be friends with their baby mother. They want to be friends with their ex-wives and their ex-girlfriends, ex-boyfriends, all that. But I say if everybody wants to be friends, like if you want to be so cordial now, y'all should have been cordial way back when. Y'all could have made it work. Why do we have to be so cordial now? It's one thing to say, hey, how you doing when we're in public settings and all that good stuff. But y'all talking about y'all want to be friends with y'all exes? Y'all know I made an episode about that. And I am sticking to my gun about friends, especially when it comes to exes being friends. I can't be bothered with it because it just don't make sense. Make it make sense for me. So be careful with the baby mama dynamic because you're kind of setting yourself up. You setting yourself up. Yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yes, spiritual word. Saying don't try me. Not today, not tomorrow, and not the next day. Jermaine said, modern women fall in my generation, which is millennials and also zennials. Yeah, I'm not Gen Z. He said, Generation X women are the ones who taught them game on how to be modern women. And Gen X is 43 and up. Exactly. And they're still in the game competing. I told you before, younger women competing with the older women. Therefore, what's going to happen here? What's going to happen here? Because I said, like, the older women, that's why I said this already before in my last episode. I said the younger women at some point in time were being taught by older women. And now that the younger women have turned into older women, they're now teaching these younger women, and the cycle repeats itself. It's as simple as that. Wow. As simple as that. Yeah, Marquette said, I agree with you on that, Chelsea. That is the truth. And shout out to Mona, my mod Mona, for being here. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. Yeah, them soul ties, though. All right, let's continue this. There are some soul ties. Thank you. That's a specific thing you mentioned there when you said soul ties. Being attached to these exes, being attached to these baby mamas. Always in the picture. Here we go. Parent-teacher conferences and this and that. So many different events. And I don't have that. I mean, it's not about maturity. It's just about the fact I don't have that type of time. Let's say I want to go fly out for the weekend, but you can't because you're on babysitting duty. It just doesn't work out too well. Sorry. So yeah, pay attention to the family dynamic. Next, I'm going to get into the friends because as we know, with 1 Corinthians 15:33 says, do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. Bad company corrupts good character. Why do I like him, but I can't stand his friends? The reason for that is because you can't stand him either, but you are being distracted. Lust is leading everything that's going on, and that's why you can't realize that this guy is no good for you either. His friends are no good. That means he's no good as well. And he wouldn't want to be around no good friends if he was some good. If he's going around these people and his spirit lights up when he sees them, it's because he loves to be with them. He loves to be bothered with his friends. You wouldn't be friends with folks you didn't like. At least you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be with folks. You shouldn't be friends with folks you don't like. You shouldn't be. Since that is the case, if he's hanging around people that are no good for him, it's because he enjoys it. He has a decision that he needs to make. And it's up to him to make it. You can't force this person to change. And that's one of the things I've learned from my relationships is that you cannot date potential. You cannot expect a person to change his or her lifestyle for you. Whatever they have come with is who they are. You either like them or you don't. Trying to change somebody is not going to help long term because they'll end up resenting you. I don't want that. For example, let's say that they got friends that are pimps, friends that are got baby mamas. unmarried friends, but you desire to be married and you have morals and respect, that means y'all are not equally yoked. And they're going to look at you like you equally yoked. Y'all are equally yoked, not equally yoked. Therefore, if you don't like his family, you don't like his friends, then you don't like him. And you need to stop fooling yourself. I've read some stories where women say they tried to ignore the friends, and later on, them same friends was the reason they got a divorce. Pay attention to the friends. I want to see that he's around friends who, one, love God, fear God. You can see their fruits. They are married men, or they are actually in the process of trying to get married. They have fiancés. They don't have long-time girlfriends. They don't have baby mamas. Because you'll get so comfortable with your surroundings. You get so comfortable. If you see all the men around you are unmarried and living their best lives, then you will want to do the same thing. And you'll feel like you're pressured when a woman tries to ask you, hey, what's up with marriage? Oh, no, I don't know right now. But when you have guys around you who are great counsel, because as we know, literally, you have to have people who are around you who are great counsel, who can guide you towards success, who can guide you towards those godly principles. Greetings, Brother Chavis. I appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much. And hey, shout out to Chavis, because I know y'all recently celebrated your anniversary, right? Or was it Keisha's birthday? Let me know. But I did see the video where you took Keisha out to Melting Pot, and I thought that was so beautiful on just a different topic, y'all. It's just so great to see couples doing their thing, married couples. Shout out to all the married couples in the chat. I know plenty of y'all are in here, so thank you so much for being an example of what love looks like during this month of February and beyond. So shout out to Chavis. He took his wife out for a surprise to the Melting Pot, and she seemed like she enjoyed herself and was ultimately surprised about that. It was Keisha's birthday. And shout out to Keisha. Happy belated birthday to you, and you are blessed to have a husband like Chavis. So blessings to you. Blessings to you. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. We're going to keep this going, because when it comes to women and standards, they ain't got them like that. Lauren said they claim to have standards, but the question didn't state if they were correct ones for the long game. And see, we all have standards, but they're subjective. They're subjective. It all depends on what we consider standards. It all depends on how we were raised up. I could think this is a standard. Somebody else may not think this is a standard, but I think we have to have a solid foundation. Otherwise, we're letting people fool us and manipulate us. And men only take us for what we give them. Just imagine if you give a man everything he wants, because men are supposed to be hunters. If you give a man everything he wants already on a silver platter, he has nothing to work for. Men want to be able to pursue you, not chase you while you're running away, but no, pursue you. And the best way a man can pursue you is if you allow him to. You give inch by inch by inch. And you're not so quick that you give the whole package away, because at this point he has nothing to fight for. He has nothing that, he would want anymore. Desire. Come on now, when you're giving it all away. And good evening, Gail. I appreciate you for being here as well. Thank you so much. Yep, Melting Pot, the fondue restaurant. Yep. All right. So again, pay attention to that man's friends, because it determines who he really is at the end of the day. Again, because we know bad company corrupts good character. Next thing I want to talk about is finance. Ladies, the question I have for y'all is that, hey, let's say a man works at McDonald's. Is it okay if he stays in that position? He's a crew member at McDonald's, but you really like him. Will you deal with him? Will you stay with him? Or are you wanting more out of him? And is it fair for us to want more out of him? He's a crew member of McDonald's, but he's God-fearing. He's a priest, protector, and provider. He's checking off all the things on your list, but is that enough for you to want him? And the reason I say that is because, again, when we date potential, we take people as they are. And since he's a crew member at McDonald's, take him as he is. And what if he never changed? What if he never improved? Would you still love him? And I think that's what it's supposed to be like. Wherever you meet a person at is where it's going to be at. I know people can aspire for more if they have that ambition, but let's say he doesn't. Let's say he's content with being that crew member and flipping them burgers. And it may not be nothing wrong with that. But we can't expect him to become the CEO when he came in as the crew member. Why should we expect more out of him than he expects out of himself? I'm going to read these comments, okay? But yeah, so true. Pursue, not pray or chase. Exactly. Men want to pursue. But I'm just saying, for the women in the chat, I would love to know, Are you taking a man as he is? I know we try to fix people up. And when we get together, when we become married, we become one. We put our finances together accordingly. And we try to build something together, that generational worth. That generational wealth. I'm sorry, worth and wealth. Generational wealth. We try to build that together. But women do come in with these unrealistic expectations. They do. And that's the sad part about it. And shout out to Keisha, Mrs. G for being in the building. We appreciate you. Happy belated birthday to you. I saw that surprise video that Shay was put up there. That was just beautiful. So beautiful. So I'm glad that you enjoyed your birthday, and I appreciate you for being here. And Marquette said, I'm going to say she's going to bolt it. Most women are not going to stick around with a brother in a position of employment such as that. Just my best guess. And keep it real. See, I'm just saying, whenever we meet a man, let's say he is the crew member, he's doing his job, doing his due diligence. He's doing his due diligence, but it may not be enough for you. I don't think we should expect him to become the CEO as soon as we get with him. And Gracious Greatness says it depends on the man's vision and the consistency and actions that he shows to the plan. And see, that's the next F. I've already talked about family, friends, and faith, but the next F I'm going to talk about after finance is future. Is the future, because when we look at finance, we look at people for who they are right now. Yes, we look at people for who they are right now. Look at that love in the chat, y'all. All right, finance. Are we going 50-50? Because some women don't want to sign up for that 50-50 lifestyle, even though they were doing 100 before. But they say, hey, 50-50, I can do this by myself. I can do bad all by myself. And those are just some of the phrases that women do use. Are we doing 50-50? But one thing I will say about finances is that if a man can't keep a job, he won't be able to keep you. The reason I say that is because what man isn't motivated by his finances? What man is not motivated by his finances? Let me know. I'm telling you, if a man is jumping from job to job, he's unstable and he's not ready to lead you. Seriously. Unless those job hops are happening every 2 years and it's for a greater position with greater income. Because as we know, when it comes to jobs, one, if you stay at a job so long, they're not going to give you the salary that equals up to the market rate. You know what I'm saying? When you stay at a job, you're kind of losing money. But for the most part, a man that's job hopping every month, he's going from here to there, and his resume is longer than his list of accomplishments, that's when you have a problem. Christina said, if you are requiring all of these things of a man, then you had better be complimentary to what you are asking. Uh-oh. They don't want to hear that, Christina. They don't want to hear that. Complimentary. See, that's what I'm saying. Let's talk about it when it comes to finances. I'm going to get into this a little bit more. Because one thing I will say about finances is this. If you can't keep a job, he should keep you. Check my last comment. Let me see what you said. Hold on 1 second. Let's scroll back up. That must have been a long time ago, Christian fan. I'm going to look for your other comment. Okay, I'm going to look for your other comment. What you said, or at least have income. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, Gracious Greatness said, this is so insightful. I'm glad you're all in the chat providing that expertise, whether you're single, you're ready to mingle, you're married, you're out here, however you're doing it, but y'all giving some insight tonight. So thank you so much. I'm just trying to just tell these women about standards. And if you have a solid foundation, that will allow you to weed out the Ray Rays and Pookies. What kind of weight and debt is being brought to the marriage? Oh, hello. I'm going to talk about it. Woo. Know the credit score in advance, okay? Know the credit score in advance. I just feel that as women and as men, we don't want to be finessed. I would hope you wouldn't want to be finessed. I definitely don't want to. But I think we should know that credit score in advance. That's your reputation out here in these streets. Where you been swiping at? Where have you been swiping at? Where have you been allocating your money to? Where are you giving your money? We need to know the credit score, okay? Like literally, I'm about to be like the credit bureaus pretty much just saying like, hey, what's your credit score? What's going on? Because you don't want to come in with a bunch of debt. As Successful Melanated Dusty is saying, is that you don't want to come in with a bunch of debt. You need to know where the money's going. Are you responsible? You want to know where the money's going. And shout out to my bro Dre from Harrison Family Values for being here. I appreciate you. Thank you, brother. And then also, matter of fact, Dre has a campaign going on right now, as I promoted last week as well, where he's actually trying to raise money for his classroom because they're trying to create a video podcast going on, trying to help the youth become involved in content creation. So Dre, please drop that link in for Donors Choose, because today, specifically for Black History Month, what they're doing is that any donation that you give is being matched. So if you give $20, they're going to give $40 to Dre's campaign. And we want to salute Dre for being a teacher, an African-American teacher specifically, who is giving back to the community, who is helping the underrepresented youth of today. So shout out to Dre for that. He'll drop the link in the chat because the donations will be matched. Let's give because we got to help the youth. We know it takes a village, and we can be that village for him. Speaking of finances, where are you sowing your seed at? Sow it to Dre's ministry that he has going on with his campaign for the youth. But seriously, when it comes to debt, do you have a 401k? Do you have an IRA? 401k, again, you can get that through your company. If your company doesn't offer a 401k option for a retirement account, you can get an IRA, which is an individual retirement account. You can get a traditional, which means that you're going to be taxed later on in life. So you get the money tax-free, for beginning, it builds up tax-free, but then you have to pay for it at the end. That's the traditional IRA. But then you have the Roth IRA, which means you pay taxes on it now because you think you'll be at a higher tax bracket later on in life. That's what you should be asking these men. What kind of savings do you have? Do you have life insurance, or is your plan to have a GoFundMe for your funeral? Are you standing in line for the Jordans, but you can't stand in line to get your insurance for life? Do you have health insurance? But again, that credit score matters. Pay attention to that, because you don't want a man to use your credit. You got your stuff stacked up. You stacked it and stashed it, but he doesn't have his stuff together. That's a finesse. Next, pay attention to, like, for example, let's say he's paying child support. He's paying alimony. The question is, when will your support come in? Because especially when you got a bunch of kids out here, that child support gets hefty. That child support gets real hefty. And the woman can ask for increase. And I'm going to be talking about child support because I don't really think it actually supports the child like that. I'll get into that at a later episode with a guest as we talk about child support, because it's really ruining the community more than it is helping, to be honest, as we think money can replace a man. Money can replace a father. But when it comes to finances, again, a man may be paying child support, alimony, and the list goes on. That woman can ask for increases, and you have to see what your debts are when you're coming into marriage. That baby mama support, because it ain't for the child. Where are the receipts? We need receipts on that. We need receipts on that. Don't sow your seed in Ruth Chris on one meal. Skip her for once, okay? Wow. So finance. See what the financial dynamic is. Ask him in advance, because you don't want to be surprised when you say I do, because you don't know what you're saying I do to most of the time. And I don't know what's up with vows, but people really need to be careful when they're saying this stuff, because they really don't mean it. They don't know what comes with it. And if it's happening, if the finance is ruined prior to the wedding day, it's going to continue to be ruined. If he doesn't know how to create a basic budget, if he ain't went to Ramsey Solutions and signed up for Financial Peace University, no, I'm not sponsored, but I'm working on that now for Financial Peace University, because it's like you got to create a basic budget. We don't want to create budgets because we think that's for poor people, but no. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Yeah, and the way you can start planning for your success is to create a budget. Know what's going where, what percentage is going to giving, what percentage is going to education, and here and there, and the basic necessities of life. But if we don't create a budget, we don't create a plan, we're setting ourselves up. And that's one of the main reasons we cannot create generational wealth, is because we don't know how to put our finances together. We don't know about tax hacks. We don't know how to use real estate to be able to, create wealth as well. We don't know about that as a community. We're talking about, relationships, which is important, because if you have the right relationships, you'll be able to create the right connections, which will allow you to create generational wealth with the right folks. You want to leave a legacy behind, and your legacy is not just your children. Your legacy is what you've instilled in them, and your legacy is also the money that you have or whatever. I'm just saying, budgets keep us honest, keep us realistic, and let us know what we really have. We're scared of budgets because we don't want to see the truth, but the truth shall set you free. We have to budget. And just really, if you pay attention, a lot of women are paying attention to one F, which is called fine, seeing how fine a man is. But I'm saying, is he mentally fine, spiritually fine, financially fine? Because I can see clearly now the lust is gone. I can see clearly now the lust is gone. When the lust is out the way, you'll be able to see what this person's trying to say. Where is he leading you? Is he leading you to heaven, or is he leading you to hell? Which one? But you may not know that if you're too busy focusing on the one F called fine, instead of asking your father up there if this man is really worth your time. Finance. Pay attention to it because he's supposed to be the provider. He's supposed to be the provider, but I know this new age stuff says that, women are supposed to come in with this much and that much. Figure out y'all equation. What works best for y'all? Everybody's not going to do 50-50. Some of us going to have to be housewives. Some of us could be housewives. Some of us could be working from home. There's so many different dynamics, but I'm not going to judge everybody's situation because it's different. The last F, before I get to this last F, I talked about faith. What is his faith like? You want a God-fearing man, but he ain't talking that God-fearing language. Leave him alone. Don't try to figure it out. That's too much. Ask your brother and sister in Christ. Really ask your brother because they know the lingo that these men are talking and how they talking and how they not walking like they talking. Number 1 is faith. Number 2, pay attention to his family. Because if they ain't no good, he ain't no good either. And then you don't want a man, like back to this family dynamic, you don't want a man who doesn't like his family because you just going to marry him and then not be able to go to the family reunions because he beefing with the family. That's the worst thing in the world. He coming to all your family functions, but you ain't even got an extended family because you didn't get the chance to even get to know them because he's blocking the opportunity for that because he don't like them. But you came from them. Okay, sir. Next, the friends. If you don't like the friends, you don't like him either. Especially for women who are actually sleeping with the man, which you shouldn't do. That's up to you. I hope you get a ring, but you got to do things the right way. But let's say that you were sleeping with this man, right? And you sleeping with him and you love him, but you don't like the friends. The reason for that is because you ain't sleeping with the friends. You're not sleeping with the friends, and that means that gives you a clearer picture. I can see clearly now the lust is gone. When the lust is not in the picture, you see these people for who they really are. And if you took the sex away out your equation with this man, you'd be able to see he is no good, just like the friends. Always up to no good. The finance, you don't want to be coming in with thousands of dollars of debt. And you didn't create a plan, you didn't create a budget together. You need to create a budget before you say I do. Otherwise you won't. Because one of the reasons that women get divorced is because of finances. Also infidelity, but I think number 1 reason are the finances. That's why we got to pay attention to what's going on. Because when money gets into the equation, let's say a woman is tested when a man is at his lowest financially. And a man is tested when he's at his highest financially because that determines a man, his finances, what he's doing. Is he content with himself? And a lot of times it reflects in the job he has and in the money he makes. Last but not least, Future. Not the rapper. No. Some of y'all want Future. No, y'all need to figure out y'all future for real. Figure out his future. And he should be talking about that with you. Where are you taking me again? Are you taking me to heaven? You taking me to hell? And the reason I say that is because we are under a man's leadership when we get married. There's an order. We leave and cleave. Husband, wife, children. But before husband is God. That's why I ask you, what's your future? Because he has to be submitted to God. And that's why I said as the first thing, it was the faith that matters. It's the faith. If you don't know who God is and you're trying to figure things out on your own, it's going to be very difficult in this lifetime. But to each his own. I'm just talking to us Christians out here that think we can cherry pick our way through the verses. I want to know what his 1-year plan is, because most of us don't even create plans. We don't create plans. And again, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. 1-year plan, 5 to 10-year plan. When's the last time y'all wrote a plan? I would love to know. Like, when's the last time y'all wrote a plan? I wrote a plan when I was going to college. I had a 5-year plan then, but I have to update my plan and incorporate what I would like. I would like to be a wife. I would like to be a mother. I would like to maybe get my degree. I would like to create my nonprofit. There's things that I would like to do for myself that I have in my head, but I got to write it down so I can be able to create an action behind that. It's so easy for us to say what we want to do, but if we didn't write it down, there's not much doing we can do yet. Yeah. Reading some of these comments. Gracious Grady says, don't budget, then you'll be like that mama arguing about why you didn't buy McDonald's for all her kids. With the Brazilian, Peruvian, and flawless nails, though. Ooh, let's talk about it. See, that's what I'm saying, women. Your wigs and weaves are not included in this man's budget. Your nails, sometimes maybe he'll get your nails done for you and all that, but these expensive lifestyles, knowing that you're using your baby mama support, aka child support, to supply your needs. The child is lagging and lacking. That's the worst thing in the world. When I talk about child support, I'm gonna talk about that. About how us women, we can be looking flawless, wake up flawless, post up flawless with the Brazilian, the Peruvian, the all different types of hairstyles and hair brands and all this. You foreign with the hair, but you boring with everything else. You got the flawless nails, but your child look like a mess. Your child look like a welfare child. Unfortunately, because you rather pay for your aesthetics and neglect this child all to get back at a man. Ain't that the worst thing? And then you expecting a man to come into your predicament, all that you got going on, your situation, and fix your life like Ayala. What? Are you the thing you require? See, that's what I'm saying. We have this list, and I'm actually going to do an episode where I have a list of everything that I would like in my significant other. And I'm going to have my brothers in Christ. I'm going to have my brothers in Christ actually critique me on this list, because I want to, pay attention to see, hey, are these things what I really need? Are they more so wants, or are they needs? Right? Are they required, or should they be optional? And that's what my brothers in Christ are going to check me on that. Because I think it's vital for us to get feedback. We think we're doing this stuff the right way, but if we keep getting the same results, then that means that we got to switch something up. Sometimes it could be the character, our heart, we need to switch up. Sometimes it could be the plot, the way we're doing things. But we have work to do. We have so much to do, and we can't be requiring things that we don't meet. You cannot require a man to fulfill all your needs that you can't fulfill for yourself. Would you marry you? Would you do that? And look, I'll be talking. The next thing you know, it ends up being an hour. Like I said, I'll be on here for 30 minutes. But guys got me talking about what we need to hear tonight. Okay? 100%. Brazilian this, Brazilian that. Let's get ourselves together. Let's get ourselves together, people. Because I think it falls back on the women. Like we can blame the men out here for cheating. But it's up to us to make sure that we keep our legs closed and not let a man disrespect us to cheat with us, right? Not partake in the cheating. But it's like it all falls on a woman sometimes. Men are only doing what we allow. Yeah. Thank you so much, Brian Bates. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Amen. I appreciate y'all too. But it just falls on us women, right? We can blame the men all day, but we have to take accountability. It may hurt. But I'm going to read what Jermaine just said real quick. Oh, yeah. He's like, case in point, you say you want a man with a 5-year plan, but when's the last time you stuck to a week plan, right? Right. You want him to lay out his line. You interviewing him, but when are you ready to be the interviewee? When are you ready to show us what you got? Everybody brings something to the table. Everybody. Amen. See, that's what I'm talking about. Bars, and I'm going to give y'all the praise today. We waited until marriage. She did things the right way. And when you do it the right way, it just all falls in line. We don't know when that day may come, but we know that a God-fearing man is not going to have you waiting forever, to say the least, to wife you up. Especially when you prove to be wife material. God is great. Okay? God will do all we need on his timing, not on ours. Come on, but we are doing things backwards. Carriage before marriage, and then wondering, again, we don't have this ring. We're not doing things the right way. And I just wish that we would open our minds. I wish somebody would tell us. And y'all don't want to hear it from the men. There's so many podcasts out here, but I think that y'all don't want to hear it for the delivery. And even if the delivery was excellent, y'all still won't want to hear it. Y'all may say I may be harsh, but I'm just telling y'all what I've learned through my experience. So y'all can grow, so y'all won't have to repeat my mistakes and do things the right way. Lauren said, a man's and woman's true character is revealed by their past words and behaviors. It's good. Like one thing Judge Faith Jenkins Lattimore says is that it's one thing. It's like a man can treat you good when everything's going good, but pay attention to how somebody treats you when things are not going good. Look at their character. Are they calling you out your name? Because that should be a one and done. Ladies, when a man calls you out your name, okay, if it ain't a term of endearment, then you need to be walking out the door. Disrespect like that, infidelity, us allowing infidelity, knowing that that's not biblical, but we're making excuses for it, and we're giving men passes before they even do it to say, oh, I know you live this lifestyle, so you can go ahead and do that, and then just don't bring a baby back. We are lowering our standards, and I'm really scared about the future generation and where we're going with this. I really just think that the future generation is sad. But let's look at this love in the chat, y'all. It's so good. It's so good to see that love. Again, this is February, Black History Month. I want us to have a future. See, that's what I'm saying. We got Black History Month, but we need to be talking about Black Future, black future, not the history. We can celebrate the history, but do not dwell on just the negative things of the history. Let's create a future so we can be in somebody's history books in years to come. Let's think about a future. Let's come up with a plan. Let's figure out some action. But I'm just saying, I'm going to just recap over these 5 things that I said that women should have when it comes to standards, because I have high standards now. You have to go through some things to be able to add some standards to your list, things you're not going to put up with. The first thing is faith. You can't say you want a God-fearing man, but as soon as they say, oh, are you having sex before marriage or waiting? Don't know. No, a Christian is solid on their foundation. They say yes and no. They let their yeses be yeses and their no's be no's. And then they know better if they made mistakes before, because they don't want to do it again, because they know they cannot play with God because they fear him. Second is family. Oh, and also back to faith really quick. Just again, don't try to go for the men at church, because they can be keeping it on the down low. They can be married. They can be preying on you, P-R-E-Y, and see you as that desired target. And you may not even know it, because he says all the words. He's learning from some external source, and it's coming to you because of your vulnerability as the church girl. That's the first thing. And then also when it comes to faith is that as women, when we have the standards of faith for a man, we should pay attention to the fact that we cannot just be sitting at home and expecting that man to come, because the church has taught us as women to stay at home, go to work, go to the grocery store, and go to church, and that's it. Home, church, grocery store, and work. That's it. And that's not enough to find a God-fearing man, because a God-fearing man may not always be at the church. He may not, because he may be church hurt. You may have to be that light that he needs to see in order to get things going again. You may have to be that light for him. Sometimes that's the case. He ain't just going to be perfect like your pastor, because your pastor ain't perfect. But we worship and pastor, and we're creating pastors to be our surrogate husbands. So pay attention to his faith, but his faith does not have to be perfect, because none of us are. None of us are. But just be careful, be discerning there. Second, pay attention to the family. Pay attention to the family dynamic, because he represents his family. If he doesn't have a good relationship with his mother, why wouldn't he? Unless she was abusive to him. That in those cases you can understand, right? You can understand if she's been abusive to him, but you would hope that they would make amends with that relationship. Pay attention to the father, because if the father's no good, the father got a bunch of outside kids and baby mamas, and maybe your mother wasn't the only one he was with, then that causes a problem as well, because you don't get to see a healthy family dynamic from your mother or your father. That's why we're trying to strive for 2-parent households now. Pay attention to the mental history, the health history, what runs in the family. Because, some stuff does run if it's hereditary, but other things are just because of our bad habits. See how he treats his children. Are his children on a higher pedestal than you'll ever be? Don't compete there. Don't compete there, and let him do his thing, because some people do have obsessions with their children. There's a healthy dynamic, but some people do have obsessions. I've dealt with that. See how he treats his nieces and nephews, godchildren, if he doesn't have children. Pay attention to the mama's boys, because they're out there. And you'd be like, oh, he loves his mama. But no, if he putting his mama before you in every situation, and that's when you're going to have competition that you shouldn't sign up for as well. And pay attention to baby mamas and ex-wives, because they may always want to be in the picture. And as soon as they find that a woman is doing better for that man than they were doing, that's when competition comes. That's when boundaries are crossed. That's when disrespect happens, because they're not happy to see that their significant other is now with someone else that may have replaced them. Number 3 was friends. Pay attention to their friends, because their friends represent him in a different light. His friends represent him in a different light. And if you don't like the friends, you really don't like him, because there's no reason for you not to like his friends, because he chose these people to have in his life. Finance. What's the budget? Do you have any retirement accounts? What's your credit score? I'm not trying to be materialistic here, but I do need to know if you have a credit score that is extremely poor, especially when I work to have a high credit score. If you have a high credit score, then why would I want to put up with a man who has a low credit score? Get yourself together first, because I feel like if a man doesn't have his finances together, he definitely shouldn't be out here dating. I'm saying at least be above average, a little bit above average, or be average. I'm just saying. But to not have your finances together, not have a pot to piss in, but you worried about a woman, it doesn't make any sense. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to that. And when it comes to finances, who are you spending your money on? Are you throwing away money at the waitresses? Are you just wasteful and distasteful with your money? And lastly, future, because we all have one, but we basically get to determine our future by what we're doing right now. Every little step we take, like Bobby said, every little step we take determines what our future is going to look like. That's what our future is. It's just a combination of all the past steps and the present steps to get us to this moment. Make sure he has a plan. And does being a husband fit into that plan? That's the problem sometimes too, is that he's talking about, oh, I want to be a millionaire. I want to have kids. But do you know to have kids by me, you have to put a ring on my finger first? So be careful of how these men are explaining their plan, because it may not include you. It may include his legacy. He says he wants kids, but he didn't say nothing about being a husband. I've heard that. Oh, I want kids. I want a legacy. I want this. I want that. But he ain't said nothing about having a wife. He ain't said nothing about being a God-fearing man or being a husband or anything like that. But how can you have kids out here without a wife? And if you think like that, that means obviously you don't know nothing about order. You don't know nothing about biblical principles. And that's not a future you should sign up for. Ladies, you can determine your future by making sure that you control your womb, that you put respect on your standards, that you have a list of things that you want and that are requirements for you. Okay, a man having a six-pack is not a requirement. It should not be a requirement. If you're looking for a man to have a six-pack, what's going to happen 20 years from now when that six-pack has gone six flat? What's going to happen? I'm telling you, y'all want the six-figure, six-pack, 6 feet. Maybe the 6 feet will stay, but we decrease in height sometimes too. But let's say the 6 feet stay. The six-pack went 6 flat, and the 6 figures has become hidden figures because he could lose his job. He could lose his job. And not even about the six feet, right? The 6 feet could go away because this man could be amputated tomorrow, and now he went down to 3 feet. What you gonna do then? Till death do us part, through thick, through thin. And see, that's a problem. A lot of people want these people thin, but they need to realize that people can get thick as well. Marriage happens, happy weight happens. What's going to happen in that case? Yes, I am. Okay, I love my old school. Okay, I love it. I wish I had some old school sound bites. I do not, but I love my old school. For richer, for poorer. Yes. That's what I'm saying. Hustler, muscle, you heard. Yeah, I just said it, so you probably heard it. But I said, what if he's 6 feet tall, gets his legs amputated, go from 6 feet to 3 feet? I'm just saying. I don't know. Yes, faith, family, friends, finances, future. Oh, he's gonna find out she was born in the 80s. Stop. I am over here 97. I'm a part of the Gen Z. I'm like the oldest of the Gen Z. But first date at the police station though. Okay, I'm with that. Because you gotta find out find out if he's a freak. I'm saying, like, is he crazy? First date at the police station. You have to be careful. See, that background check though. The background check. Oh my goodness. And then even Jermaine was talking about the 6 comment. This has been around for a long time. See, and that's why I gotta go back, because I've been looking at some of these comments. Y'all know y'all be in the chat. Oh yeah, here we go. Women have had the 666 list of 6 feet, 6-pack, and 6 figures since the early 90s, but have no idea of what's required of them. Oh, I forgot. They are the table. I am the table. Right, like on Chantel's show. But for real, look. I am the table. No. If we're requiring 6 feet, 6-pack, and 6 figures, right? Then they should be able to require. Look, you need to at least have 6 inches of your own hair. You know, they can say that you need to have a 6-pack. You need to have this. What if they came with the same thing for us? They only tell us that we need to be fit, feminine, and friendly. And then that's always something we could work on, being feminine. I have wives in the chat that could talk about that, being feminine, being friendly. Prove yourself to be friendly and not have an attitude all the time. I talked about that last week when I asked, why can't black women get along? It's black women in this chat. We all getting along. What's wrong with that? Is that foreign to us? I be trying to get along with folks, but folks don't know how to act. I'm like, ooh. I'm saying, like, at least 6 inches of your real hair. That's it. Like, just asking. Yes. Old spirit. Okay. Old spirit. I love my old school music because the old school was where it was at. The old school where it was at. I'm just saying, this new school stuff, I can't get with it. I can't. Like, old school actually had lyrics. Now today, y'all got the mumble rappers. Y'all got, I don't know what y'all got going on, but it ain't working. Keisha said, marriage is work. As long as you have a solid foundation in Jesus and still love Christ and each other, can last and work. 7 years and counting. Let's give a shout out to y'all. We got a lot of people in the chat with successful marriages. Shout out to y'all. We got the 7 years and counting. We got Jermaine, 18 years and counting. Mona, 12 years and counting. Christina with the 36 years and counting. And Lawrence, I believe 40 something years for Lawrence. Please let me know, Lawrence, before I get off of here. Look, first date at the police station, second date at church, right? We got to be serious out here because we don't know what we're dealing with. A lot of women, there's literally a Facebook group that says, it's called, Are We Dating the Same Guy? And they have them for every different city out here. Are we dating the same guy in Detroit? Are we dating the same guy in Dallas? Are we dating the same guy this? And there are women in these groups that are posting pictures of men from dating apps. And they're telling women, red flag, this man stood me up, this man slept with me, and then this and that. Why do y'all take men serious that are on all these different dating apps? There are women who have said that he's on Tinder, he's on Bumble, he's on Christian Mingle, he's on all these different apps. I'm saying he's spreading himself thin. He's looking to see who he can recruit. Okay? Chelsea's going to marry a dude as old as James Evans with that brute set. You, stop. Look, crickets. But for real, shout out to Good Times real quick. Good Times today premiered for the first time. I think it was 49 years ago, I want to say. I'm going to have to look that up because I'm curious. Let me see. I'm sorry. I got to look that up. Good Times premiered on February 8th, 1974. 1974. So I think that is 49, right? Oh, yeah, 49 years. I think I was correct on that. I'm going to just calculate because Lord help me today. 1974. Yeah, 49 years, bet. Okay, yes. So today, speaking of Good Times, and James Evans, shout out to James Evans because he was a real father, but literally today, February 8th, this is your Black History fact for today. February 8th, 1974 is when Good Times premiered on this day today. Good times anytime you want to pay me. Good times. I ain't going to sing it without. For real though, I love Good Times. It was a great show. It showed what a stable relationship looked like, a stable marriage for the most part. There were ups and downs, of course, ups and downs, but overall, it was a strong father. It was a strong father. Yes. Ain't we lucky we got him. Shout out to Alona. Rest in peace to her. Rest in peace to Florida. You know, all the folks in Good Times. But that was just a good show. Great show. But I appreciate y'all. Lawrence with the 45 years and counting. The 45 years and counting. Yes. And see, y'all talk about James Evans, right? It's more like Mr. Biggs. The only things I love old are money and Mr. Biggs. That's it. Okay. That's just what it is. I'll play. But I enjoyed y'all tonight. As always, I just want women to have some standards because I think it's extremely important, especially in today's climate where we're just giving it up for nothing. Women are losing their self-worth because they never had anything set. And I think it's time we change the narrative. Whoever wants to join. Shout out to the women in the chat. Shout out to the men who are letting us know that these are standards that us women should have. And I'm going to continue seeking out advice, especially from my brothers in Christ and my sisters in Christ, because we can learn something from everybody. Berean Babes, even married in the chat. Shout out to Berean Babes. She's a wife. Shout out to every woman and man in the chat who are married, who desire marriage, who have had marriages, maybe that did not succeed, but they're learning, they're growing, and maybe they desire marriage again. It's never too late. The clock is ticking, and as long as it's ticking, you can be able to make that plan and live life the best way you can. Until next week, y'all, I appreciate y'all. Stay safe, stay blessed, and God willing, I will see y'all next week for another episode of Chelsea's Live Line.